Alrighty, today we're going to talk about being an autistic person in the retail environment and working in the retail environment. So, one thing I've noticed myself is that so much of the employment around me, like me, is also autistic. This is a trend that is very common, at least where I'm at and where I was at. And I think it's in part due to the education system failing us and not setting us up for success. And as a result, a lot of us have to use retail as a stepping stone, or sadly, some of us use retail as our life. And maybe some people enjoy it, but I think a lot of people are stuck in it because of the circumstances and the way society treats and deals with autistic people. Um, and we're going to specifically focus on the retail environment today. But I'm probably going to make this a whole series where I talk about all kinds of different things and maybe even dive more into the retail environment in the future again. But first things first, I just want to start out with one of the things that bothers me every friggin' day, and that's the lights, man. Why are the lights in grocery stores so friggin' violent? They make me feel like I'm in an insane asylum, bro. Like, they are too bright. Calm them down. Just dim them a bit or change the white. Like they're so white, you know? Maybe that's like not all autistic people, but it's one of the things I and many of my homies have talked about. Another thing is the music. Why is the music so loud? Why does it need to be so loud? Like there are people talking and having conversations literally everywhere, all the time, 24/7. It doesn't stop. Why do I need the music going the whole time, too? Lord have mercy. Like if your store like mine implements a sensory free hour, you'll notice those hours are so nice. They're so much more chill. And that's why I'm excited to go to morning shifts. Which is gonna be a big change for me, and that's one of the ways I'm gonna make my work life work with my autism. But there are certain ways that you can't. In the retail environment, if you miss a day, you get pointed. At least with the ones I have experience with, you get pointed. Um, and as autistic people, like, that's not great. Luckily, nowadays, we are seeing an increase of services where you could, if checked off by a doctor, um, actually take days off as needed for your condition. Seeing a doctor is so expensive, though, man. Um, and sometimes it like doesn't work, and other times like they think you're exaggerating or stuff like that. Like there's so many cases I've heard of like it going haywire, but I'm glad it's there at least as to offer them help, you know. But another big problem in the retail space that I have seen is the insistence on arbitrary systems that you can see the intent and purpose of, but they get in your way. Now, luckily, if you've got a store that's willing to work with you, you can sort of like bend the arbitrary lines a little bit, as long as it is for the greater good. It's not messing anything up, and the metrics are getting better, right? Like my store, particularly, um, like there are certain things we just do differently than like the standard system. It's not wrong. It's approved by market, but it has, as a result, caused us to always be like top five out of 100 plus stores. And it's just one of those things, like if you always are following these arbitrary rules that don't make sense day in and day out, it kind of gets in your head. At least it does mine. And it's really annoying and I hate it so much. But that's one thing. Um, Next, this one kind of borders along the music and the noise line. Not all places are like this, but a lot of places have a strict no headphone policy for the employees. No, I understand. You should never have two headphones in at once. I can't really think. I'm not thinking of any extreme circumstances right now, but you should just don't really have two headphones in at once at work. But one headphone to kind of declutter the noise is a lifesaver sometimes. Like it's really nice. Um, and I take it out to deal with customers. Obviously you should like, but it's really nice. Um, Another thing, and this one specifically is seasonal. Mostly, it applies right now. Is around certain times like these holidays, retail companies often like to cut hours for bonuses or whatever. And so your hours won't be consistent, and everyone knows not having that consistent routine is a little not great for us. So that's not fun. Another big oof about retail is that it is very, very monotonous. It is the same thing day in and day out. And that's most jobs. But good God, it is so true with retail as well. Now, that might not be a bad thing for all of y'all, but for me, I'm not just autistic. I also have some severe ADHD, and I need some breaks in my pattern. Which is why we're gonna start the positive sides of retail with that. Sometimes there actually are breaks in the pattern, and that is if depending on the store you work at, if you work at a crazy one like me, you gonna have some fun happen. Within the past month alone, I've been yelled at multiple times. I've seen someone get tased. I've heard about another dude getting tased twice and attacking my coworkers. So many people have tried to steal. There've been multiple altercations. Like it's just fun, you know. Depending on your store, you won't be bored, but it will be monotonous. uh, so it's one of those things that like it really depends on who you are, you know, and what you want. If you want the boring monotony without any excitement, choose a store. Choose like a neighborhood market or something chill. But if you want some fun, get you a big general store. Maybe the one that starts with W. I'm a big fan of it for fun. And you know, have fun. Just like it's at work, and you're gonna be there like a third of your life. Might as well have fun while you're there, you know, and do your job. Stay doing your job. But like, not everything, like I said, is bad. Like, if you've got a good crew, it really depends on your people, man. One of the big things for me, if you got a good crew, retail's really chill. If you got good customers, retail's really chill. Good crew, good customers, dude. Like, it's not the hardest job in the world. It's you're chilling. If you don't have to deal with crappy people, then like you got the great end of the stick and you are vibing. Retail in that case is a really chill job, and if you can get OT, that's one of the big things. Sometimes they won't like, give you OT, and they'll even cut your hours. Other times, they'll let you get a lot of OT, and that's what I like, is being able to get OT. But overall, retail is super not bad. Um, and I am definitely more appreciative of it than the more dangerous blue collar trade that I've worked in. It was not fun. That was specifically the job of a longshoreman, and that job is a whole nother video that I'll have to dedicate to it because there was a lot that happened out there, and you know, it just deserves a whole video. It was not a good job, but there were some good people. Mostly not. Y'all have a great day though, and stay vibing, even if you work in retail, 'cause it's not that bad in the end of things.